At its core, a tattoo is a deliberate and permanent alteration of the body, made by embedding ink beneath the skin that will remain there forever. Across cultures and time periods, tattoos have served, among other things, to mark identity, to express beliefs, to honor the dead, or to signal belonging. They raise questions about the relationship between the body and the self. Is the body merely a canvas for expression, or is it something to be preserved, unmarked, as a gift, and therefore not entirely our own? Religious traditions, including Christianity, have long wrestled with these questions, seeking to understand whether such markings diminish or dignify the human form. In the West, the meaning of tattoos has changed over time. Throughout the last century, tattoos became associated with the margins of society, prisoners, sailors, outcasts. They were not considered respectable, much less religious. As the figure of the social outsider became idealized in modern culture, tattoos were increasingly adopted as symbols of borrowed hardship, projecting rebellion without paying the price or earning the identity. The permanent nature of tattoos carries with it the implication that they could become a risk or a burden later in life, whether due to changing personal tastes, professional concerns, or health implications like skin conditions. Do we not have a responsibility to care for our bodies, not just in the present, but also with regard to our future selves? In contemporary Christian discourse, the question of whether tattoos are morally permissible remains a subject of debate. The book of Leviticus, chapter 19, verse 28, states quite unequivocally, "You shall not make any cuts on your body for the dead, or tattoo yourselves. I am the Lord." As has always been the case, the Word of God, once spoken, does not exist in isolation, but expresses itself through traditions which inevitably encounter the pressures and complexities of history and social norms, not to be contradicted, but to be realized and fulfilled. Tattoos, of course, are no exception to this dynamic. The Church of Alexandria, founded by the evangelist Mark in the year 42 AD, exists to this day in Egypt. Today, the vast majority of Coptic Christians mark themselves with a tattoo of the Coptic cross on their wrists. After the Muslim conquest of Egypt in the 7th century, Muslim authorities forced Coptic Christians to receive a cross tattoo, primarily on the wrist, to identify them for taxation and discrimination. But over time, the tattoo acquired a deeper significance, not a mark of subjugation, but a mark of faith and belonging. By the 8th and 9th centuries, Catholic tradition encouraged the faithful to make pilgrimages to Jerusalem, to walk where Christ walked and pray at the tomb, to endure the hardship of the journey in search of transformation. Many pilgrims returned home marked with a tattoo as a witness to their journey. One of the earliest detailed accounts of this practice comes from the Italian traveler Giovanni Francesco Gemelli Carré, who visited Jerusalem in the 1690s and recorded his experience in his book Giro del Mondo. He wrote that pilgrims who had reached the Holy Sepulchre would often commemorate their journey by receiving a tattoo, typically a cross or sacred symbol, applied by local artists using a fine needle and indelible ink. It was, he noted, a long-standing custom, especially among Catholic pilgrims who had endured the hardship of the road to reach the Holy Land. These tattoos weren't merely decorative. They served as proof of presence, a sacramental memory etched into their body, a lasting witness to the spiritual transformation that pilgrimage was meant to bring about. One particular tattoo parlor in Jerusalem, operated by Coptic Christians, was established after the 9th and final crusade. The artists used wooden blocks carved with religious symbols to imprint the design and then fill it with ink. Pilgrims would leave bearing the same marks that others before them had received for generations. For much of history, these stories circulated more as tradition than as verified history. But remarkably, we now know that this tattoo parlor was real. Some of the wooden blocks still exist. And the exact location of the shop is known, not through guesswork or legend, but because the same family that founded it in the year 1300 is still operating it today in the same location. The Razouk family, descendants of Egyptian Copts who settled in Jerusalem, have been tattooing pilgrims with crosses, dates, and sacred symbols for more than 7 centuries. Today, the 28th generation still keeps the tradition alive in the very heart of the old city of Jerusalem.